Ahoy, ladies and gentlemen, here I am, how are you doing? Welcome to the BBC Spews Live. What's the date? It's the 22nd of June. Huzzah! Hang on. My overlay's wrong. There we go. Easy as that. Jess Phillips, she's a knobhead, isn't she? What a chopper she is. Unbelievable, that. This is a long line of Labour leaders that have openly espoused hatred for the England flag. Emily Thornberry did it last time. Do you remember when Emily Thornberry took a photo of a bloke's house? All he had on it was like a couple of England flags. Like, it wasn't even mega over the top. I'm not one for, I wouldn't spray my entire house, emblazon the whole house with the cross of St. George. You see some people who like whitewash the entire thing and then put a red cross across it. This was just a bloke with a couple of flags on his house, and then she posted a photo and said like, ugh, look at the state of this. This is what we have to put up with. It's like, what? Couple of flags on your house because the football's on. It wasn't even like a random Tuesday, it was because the football was on. And more of the same from this bint. Look at that. Just saw this guy walking down the street. I assume he's walked all the way back from the match in Germany represented. What a dumb sow. I hate Jess Phillips. My contempt and hatred for the left now knows no bounds. The extremes cause the extremes, don't they? The far left causes the far right. I've always been a liberal chap, me. I've proper had enough now. Even my missus has started whinging at me, calling me a miserable bastard. But it does me head in. Like, I've gone from being merely a little bit annoyed about it to filled with furious anger all the time. They're just completely irrational. I keep feeling like I'm the only man in Crazy Town. Like, you do realise we're in a tiny minority. Like, sane people are in a tiny minority. Social media this week has just been fucking deranged. And a normal, rational person like me, it just fills me with fury. Like, you can't talk about historical events anymore with any fucking, like, interest or intellectual perception. Like, you're not allowed to question anything. If you even say something like, oh yeah, Napoleon was a good soldier, they go, oh yeah, why do you hate England? And the people who say it are the ones who openly hate England. That's why I was reading this today with amusement, like Jess fucking Phillips chirping up again. Oh yeah, and then I clicked on the thing, have a look at it on Twitter. Look at the clip of her. Look at that photo of her. She just looks like she's riddled, doesn't she? She looks like she's fucking riddled. She's grey. She's got a couple of fucking carbuncles attached to her head. She looks like shite. Like, it's probably because they're all degenerates, aren't they? She's probably got a clitoris like Rocky's speedball. She's been smashed by more blokes than fucking you can shake a stick at. She's been piped on top of more pipes than the Mario Brothers, and she just looks like she's got a green tinge about her and baggy eyes. She sort of looks like Osama bin Laden in fucking drag. What an ugly bastard. Anyway, I didn't even do the welcome today, did I? I was so pissed off. Who's in? Now then, Ragnar, all right, mate. Stephen Anderson, Kay, thanks for moderating. Yorkshire Boy, Online Killer, Mark McCoy, Grumpy Sapper, Louise Owen, all right, how you doing? Denise, Mrs. Pylord, now then. Joe, thanks for the super sticker. Still don't really know what they are, but I appreciate it anyway. Gary Warren, Kirky, Obned, interesting, that's what I was just calling Jess Phillips. Poppy Demon Hunter. So look at this. I was Rotten Politics top mod, and because I called him out, I got several people using alts targeting me, made it impossible to post my interviews of 4 Rochdale victims. Called him out on what, though? Called him out? I don't often disagree with Rotten Politics, so calling him out, I'd have to know what the context was. It's rare me and him don't see eye to eye, I'll tell you that, though. I wouldn't tuck that with a stole dick. Look at the clip of her, fucking Jess Phillips. Honestly, I'd rather shag me granddad's fucking armpit, bagpipe me grandpa. What else have we got? So, filled me with them. You lying bastard. This is what I'm talking about. Shall we just have a quick, instead of going straight to BBC, we'll have a poke around on Twitter because, as I said, the last 24 hours has been fucking mad. Like, the amount of shite posted by deranged, mentally ill lefties because Nigel Farage said something entirely reasonable. It shouldn't even be a left or right issue, which is what really does my head in about this stuff. It's not really a left versus right issue. It's just like a difference of opinion on what is going to be a massive historical event. Like, that's it. Think about it. War. It's complicated, isn't it? Like, and this isn't like, I'm not in any way trying to be controversial. It is a normal, reasonable thing to say. Like, every single conflict in human history that's large enough to get called a war results in it being poured over with a fine-tooth comb by historians and diplomats and politicians and political scientists and intellectuals. And you can say that about everything. And in the old days, when the world was sane, you could discuss like anything like this. And it doesn't have to be from antiquity, like, the War of 1812. Let's talk about that. The causes for the Revolutionary War. There's a really good example because that was extremely complicated and it shaped the world. You know, the United States is now a sovereign state because of all that. And nobody loses the fucking mind when people talk about it. Some American academics will say, like, I don't think we should have ever had a Revolutionary War, or if King George wasn't mental, we would have just ended up like Canada and we would have had our independence anyway. So a lot of people have made that point that it shouldn't have come to blows. There's backs and forths, and it's the same with the Civil War and every war in history. All the way right through to more modern ones like Vietnam. And only now has it gone all weird. And you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to say, like, I don't know, maybe it would have been better if Hitler invaded Russia 2 years later. Or, like, if you say anything, they go, oh my God, you know what this means? This means you want to give Adolf a gobble. Some of these tweets, look, that I've replied to, make my fucking head hurt. Look at this one. Apart from racists, abusers, warmongers, criminals, fascists, KKK and white supremacy, who is Farage popular with? Can you fit more stupidity in like one sentence? What's that got to do with England? There's about 11 members at this point. What's that got to do with anything? Abusers. It's like, what? You think there's a slightly complicated set of reasons for the conflict in Ukraine, therefore you beat your wife up? It hurts my fucking head. Like, as someone who considers himself a student of history and who reads about it for pleasure, you know, it drives me wild with fucking fury. Like, are we so stupid that we can't even talk about things anymore? Like, we can't even talk about historical events. There's a tagline and you have to stick to it. And if you don't, you're a bad person. Do you know what I mean? If you think maybe, because he didn't even say that Putin wasn't out of order. He said, of course, Putin shouldn't have invaded. Basically said the exact same shit that the likes of Peter Hitchens or David Starkey have said. But neither of them are running for office, so the world doesn't melt down. He said the exact same type of stuff that eminent historians would say. Like, yeah, but it takes two to tango, and there's reasons why he invaded. It's like talking about the Treaty of Versailles or something. Like, if I was in politics and I came out and said, yeah, the First World War caused the Second World War, and everybody knows about it, and the aggressive punitive measures put in by, predominantly by the French, because the French fuck everything up, and the British after the First World War essentially laid the groundworks for the Second World War, because nobody's going to watch the children starve to death. If I was to say that now, would they go, oh my God, that means Bootneck wants to resurrect the ghost of Adolf, clad him in a new cloak of meat, reanimate a corpse, and then have him barnstorm across Europe and kill 100 million 4B2s. Well, there isn't even that many, is there? Kill another 6 million and invade England and take over it. And he wants all of that. He wants all of that. Because he had, like, the temerity to talk about historical events for a little bit. Like, honestly, it proper does me head in. And look, and that's what I responded there, look. If you disagree with modern economic policies, therefore you beat your wife up, logical. Like, these people are fucking crazy. And this is why I hate them. Like, I'm a logical person. When people are completely irrational, I just hate them. Like, I don't want to hang around people that are morons. Like, if I'm sitting in a pub and I can hear someone talking and everything he says is bollocks, I just think, yeah, I don't want to sit next to him. I don't want to talk to him. He's just a fucking idiot. Eric Idle, what is it with boomers being absolute morons? Look at this one. Russian shill being revealed. That's what loads of people have said. Literally thousands of intellectuals have said that. Like, they've said every conflict has two sides to the argument. And yes, we can even talk about the one bollocked Austrian, because obviously if the Germans weren't in economic turmoil, then they wouldn't have started twatting everyone, would they? As I've said, we know this. This is a historical fact. That's why we learned from our mistakes. And after the Second World War, we personally made sure that the Japanese and the Germans weren't a fucking economic basket case. But now, if you're in politics and you say that, they go, oh my God, he's pro-Japanese Empire and Adolf. And you're not, you're just talking, you're just asking questions. The amount of yeah, well, that's a good point. There's documentaries being made about it, like rational, reasonable documentaries about the fucking conflict. Everybody knows about the putsch and the coup and the lead up to it and why Crimea got annexed and the movement of missiles. There's loads and loads and loads of complicated shit that cause war. That's why people are willing to die in the hundreds of thousands for them. It's just not controversial, and they're trying to pretend that it is. And I don't get it. I don't get how I'm in a minority. We're in a minority. I don't understand how Twitter is just hundreds of thousands of people parroting this absolute shite. And Eric Idle can't be stupid. He's funny and he's witty. He's got to be intelligent, and yet this fucking drivel. Carol Vorderman, like all of them, melting down because Farage said what is objectively true, that there's causes to wars. And yeah, Russia shouldn't have invaded eastern Ukraine, but of course they did it for a reason. Everything he said was right. And historians all around the world will tell you the same thing. But for some reason, you fucking can't. It blows my mind. Blows my fucking mind. Like I said, there's another good one. This is from Hitchens. No one's having a go at Hitchens because he's not in politics, is he? This is from the extremely well-known Robert Kagan from an article he wrote in 2022. He's the husband of Victoria Nuland, Under Secretary of State for Political Affairs in the Biden administration. Famous for a taped "fuck the EU" conversation in Kiev. Although it is obscene to blame the United States for Putin's inhumane attack on Ukraine, to insist that the invasion was entirely unprovoked is misleading, just as Pearl Harbor was the consequence of US efforts to blunt Japanese expansion on the Asian mainland, and just as the 9/11 attacks were partly a response to the United States' dominant presence in the Middle East after the First Gulf War, so Russian decisions have been a response to the expanding post-Cold War hegemony of the United States and its allies in Europe. Putin alone is to blame for his actions, but the invasion of Ukraine is taking place in a historical and geopolitical context in which the United States has played and still plays a principal role, and the Americans must grapple with this fact. If Farage said that fucking paragraph out loud, they'd go, oh, you know what that means? That means Farage hates England, even though he's born and raised there. He hates England. He hates the king. He wants to gas all the English people and replace them with fucking Eastern Europeans. And he loves Putin and he wants to suck him off. And they all parrot it. They all parrot it. And I'm just sitting here, honestly, every day going like, So the world's gone mad then. The world's gone fucking mad. And I'm just sat here every day going, all right then. Yeah, what else can you do other than laugh? Other than laugh at these fucking lunatics. That's another one that irritates me. Constantly trying to make out as if they're the patriots. Like, by every thought and deed and action, everything they've said for decades proves that they hate English culture, Anglo-centric worldviews, Western European culture as a whole. They hate it. They promote importing alien cultures. They promote importing Mohammedans and fucking Angolans and Aboriginals and anything else. They go, oh, didgeridoo, that's fucking good, innit? They don't go, oh no, it's a piece of fucking wood with an hole in it. Because those thick twats didn't manage a wheel in 25,000 years. They hate everything to do with our culture. But when they're playing this political game, they go, oh yeah, Farage talked logically and rationally and reasonably about a historical event. Therefore, he hates all British servicemen. And I was like, Paul Mason, you fucking despise the armed forces. All my life, the woke left, which is the far left, have always hated the military. One of the reasons I've got such a chip on my shoulder, I'm an argumentative prick, is because of the way I speak and the attitude of highly educated home counties, Guardian reading, snooty fucking elitists who I talk to for 5 minutes in the pub, and as soon as we start having a robust discussion, they go, oh, you're just thick. They call you thick straight away. I'm clearly not thick. I'm extremely well read, and I'm, dare I say, when I'm not swearing and trying to be funny, eloquent, and yet they'll just instantly go, you're thick, you. And you go, why am I thick? Explain to me why you perceive me as being thick, when clearly I've got a fucking higher IQ than you, and I've definitely read 10 times the history and political books than you have, judging by your infantile fucking grasp of basic political norms of the day. You don't know anything about places like Ukraine. You talk about big political historical events, and they haven't got any clue what you're talking about. They haven't read the Gulag Archipelago. They don't know about the Holodomor. They don't know anything about. They don't know that they're always got a chip on the shoulder, all the fucking weirdos, and they're all from other places in the world, right? We do, because we read. Adolf was a fucking Austrian. Stalin was a bastard. Where was he from? Not Russia. Belarus or some fucking where. Napoleon was a Corsican. I know this shit because I read. And the second you disagree with them on anything, they just go, you're just thick, aren't you? Can you turn your volume up? Hang on, I can do that. There you go, it's gone up a bit. Georgian, that's it. He was a Georgian, wasn't he? Yeah, like, they don't know any of this stuff. They don't know anything about antiquity. The commie fucks only know about sort of the last 40 years because they've been brainwashed by these academics, and they just teach them like bellocks and a load of commie fucking gibberish. So they've got a head full of horse shit, and they can't debate anything. They can just parrot things that cleverer people than them have said, and it's all wrong. And that's why, like, older, sensible people like Thomas Sowell are constantly aghast because they come out and say fucked up stuff like, oh, if you don't see race all the time, you're a bad person. Like, have you heard that one from the latest fucking silly mayor that is doing the new Star Wars show? If you don't constantly think about race all the time, you're a bad person. The exact opposite of what the sensible generation raised in the 70s, 80s and 90s and 90s were told. Like, don't obsess about people's race. Just treat them all as civilized and individuals. Easy. And they're now teaching the exact opposite. And when they say that to you, because they're parroting it because of some communist revolutionary, they think they're being clever. It's like you haven't got an original thought in your head. You're not thinking for yourself. You're just parroting fucking activists. Hunter Killer loves my streams. I'm addicted. All the best from Gisborough. Oh, hi, cheers, mate. I'll get the wets in when I'm in Gisborough next. I will be there shortly. I want to try and get there for Christmas, I think. Rod Little was posing in Gisborough. I watched the SDP video and I could tell straight away where he was. He's running for the borough, I think, which is good. I'd vote for him. I don't know if Reform is standing a candidate against him. But yeah, it's really, really bizarre. Yeah, that's exactly what, and that's why I'm a chippy northern bastard, me. Because snooty middle class Guardian readers who think they're far cleverer than they actually are, they hear me talk and they go, "Oh, he's thick, thick." And on Twitter, it's all the same, thick. Like you go, explain to me, elucidate carefully, using plenty of data and historical events. Tell me exactly why the NATO and the EU played zero role in Russian aggression post sort of 2010. And they go, nah, you're just thick. Because they can't tell you. They don't know anything. That's why they just try and dismiss you. It's the same as just calling you a racist. Or like that fucking last lunatic. Oh, you disagree with me, or therefore you beat your wife up. If you think that's a rational argument, you're welcome to it. But these fucking people are worms. And this is what I'm saying. I'm getting more and more extreme as a result, not of mid-right, of the things the left say. Like, I was a liberal, but since 2016, they've gone completely off the rails. And now I don't think I can have an intellectual conversation with them. So when someone like Paul Mason starts talking absolute fucking commie gibberish now, I don't think maybe I can win him over. Maybe I can sway him. I just think ideologue, brain dead, indoctrinated, completely captured by an ideology. So, what's the point? And let me tell you why it leads people down of this road, why I've always told everyone to always try and avoid the extremes. Because one causes the other. And I'm aware of it, and it's got so bad that in the last 8 years, I'm starting to not care. Because, think about it, I'll tell you why it's dangerous as fuck, right? Because if you decide, Paul Mason's a great example, just indoctrinated, like massively, massively conditioned. Not me, still sort of on the fence, railing against my new politics, trying to intellectually eviscerate every argument because I'm moving, because I'm switching positions. It's just totally conditioned. And the reason it's dangerous is because if you're in the military and they're training you how to deal with extremists, you use a threat pyramid, and the very bottom is $10 Taliban. It's a good example. I'll use Afghanistan, but it's the same in every coin operations all around the world. $10 Taliban, the majority, can be brought back on side because they identify them as being not ideologically possessed, but doing it for the money, doing it to feed the kids. There's other reasons for why they're doing what they're doing. But they tell you, these lot can be reasoned with. These lot slightly harder, but you can be reasoned with. They can be reached. They can change sides. The ones at the top, command just say, kill or capture. Kill or capture. Because you can't do anything with them. So think about it logically. There's the pyramid, $10 Taliban's the vast majority of them. If most of them are just shooting mortars at the American base because they want to feed the kids, if you give them a better alternative and educate them a bit, maybe they'll join your side. And the best way to beat an enemy is to make him your friend. These are all just like things you learn about military tactics, you know what I mean, throughout history. The best way to deal with an enemy is to make them your friend, because that's a force multiplier. And if you can't do that, then unfortunately you have to kill them. And you don't kill them for killing's sake. We never kill for killing's sake. War without hatred. That's why I'm so fucking well-rounded and I don't have an, twitching like fucking Chris Kyle at a barbecue. War without hatred. If I was born and raised in Afghanistan, I'd probably have joined the Taliban. Young, high testosterone, adventurous men with little fear. I'd have ended up in the fucking Taliban. So I don't hate these people. But the ones at the very top of that pyramid, you can't do anything with. You could have never had a conversation with Osama for a couple of hours, and at the end of it, he'd go, "Fuck it, I'm going to move to Israel. I love America. Talk to him for an hour, and the next thing he's wearing a pair of Uncle Sam suit and a top hat with fucking stars and stripes on it. It doesn't work. So the reason it's so dangerous to become extremist is because it warrants extremism in response, doesn't it? You can never reach someone like Paul Mason. You can't. I couldn't talk to him in the pub for an hour, and then he'd go, "You know what? You did such a good job. I'm going to get on the Trump train." It wouldn't happen. So logically, working off these centuries-old military doctrines, logically, the only way to deal with those people is the same way as the top of the threat pyramid. It's kill or capture. So why bother with democracy? I made that point about the Brexit. The whole reason human beings found a better way and stopped lining up on battlefields and murdering each other was because we invented fucking democracy. And then we all got around the table and we decided, you know what? You might be pissed off when your guy doesn't win, but it's better to go 4 years without your guy being there and just tolerate it. And then they win the arguments, and the next election, you win, and then you get your turn, and there's no need for any bloodshed. And we went, yeah, that's a good idea. When the Brexit vote, which is basically when the world went mad, wasn't it? When that happened, that is the start of this downward spiral of the world going mad, where they demonise you, like this fucker is doing, and thousands of them are all doing now, and Eric Idle and the BBC and everybody, thousands and thousands of them, with Farage, where they basically otherise you, and they're basically saying, you might as well just kill him. Might as well. That's not hyperbole. The way they've been with the violence directed towards Farage proves it. It proves it. They talk about hate all the time. They hate you. There's people who watch me, there'll be lefties who've been pointed at my channel, and they'd like it if I got killed. You know they would, because they're extremists. They don't think there's anything good in you, and this is what I keep saying about how dangerous they are. Because since that Brexit vote happened and they refused to do as they were fucking told, that proved that there's no point in democracy anymore. And I made the point loads of times. I was like, do you really want to go down this road? Do you really want to go down this road? For thousands of years, the endless bloodshed, the scroll of humanity's legacy was just fucking drenched in blood. Because we just fight. We had 100-year war with the French, for fuck's sake. It's what we do. And we came up with this amazing idea that you just tolerate a bit of shit and then you have another crack of the whip with democracy. And we all went, yeah, okay, we'll do that. And when they lost, not just one vote, but about 6. It was, as I keep saying, it was about 6. And they still wouldn't leave the EU. People like me were just like, well, there's no point then, is there? There's no point in pretending. The sham of democracy. Just you get all your guys and line up on a fucking big field, and we'll get all our guys and line up on a fucking big field, and let's have at it. Let's have at it. Because you're not fucking doing your side of the bargain. We tolerated you. We tolerated Tony Blair's fucking shower of shit for 12 years, however long it was, and then 13 years the Conservatives. I mean, people tolerate shit they don't like. Because the deal is, the rules change when the government changes, when you have another vote. But if you lot are just going to lose a referendum by 1 million votes and then just go, we're not doing it. Why should we? Why should we play the game? So this is what I'm talking about, people like Paul Mason. If you're just going to basically otherize them and just be like, they're all bad people, let's just hurt them. Well, come on then. You're proving the extremist right. We might as well just line up in a big field and stab each other with spears. Because you fucking worms aren't playing by the rules. When you lose an election, you give up. And I made the same point, and anybody with a hole in their ass made the same point about Trump. They're just wankers. Trump fucking won in 2016, narrowly, luckily, by about 100,000 votes, and they couldn't handle it. So they spent 4 years saying, oh my God, he didn't win. Oh my God, Putin. Oh my God, fucking bot farms, lying through the fucking teeth and denying the election. And then the second that fucking Biden won, of course, the Republicans are going to do the same. Of course they are. And they're making out like it's a big deal all of a sudden. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. Yeah, well, with regards to 2020, we all know how I feel about that. As I said, you just have to ask yourself a simple question. If people are so deranged that they actually are convinced that Trump is worse than Adolf, of course they'd be willing to cheat. So that's all I'll say on that. Like, certainly looks like that's what happened. And the hatred they had for him knew no bounds. So to me, rationally and logically, of course they'd fucking cheat. Thousands of activists were out there cheating. So, like, it's all gone tits up. And the last fucking couple of days on Twitter from fucking dogs, commie dogs like Paul Mason, has just proved it right. Like, we're getting to the point where there is no point in democracy. Like, we're just going to have to fight it out, aren't we? Because when they win, we have to accept it. And when we win, they say, no, it doesn't count. Oh, you want to complain about it on January 6th? Oh, you want to complain a bit about it because it looks dodgy? What we'll do is we'll lock a poor old shaman hippie in the fucking cells for 4 years. And right through to now, when you've got the likes of Sam Mellier. Fucking all these... I told you, at one time, I remember, this is when I was still a bootneck, I was at my brother's house in Borough. And some fucking pinko working for Amnesty International knocked on the door. And I proper started arguing with him, and it turned into like a shouting match. He was a proper... Apologies, I think I got the Rona when I was in Florida and coughing my guts up for a week. I got into a massive argument with him because he's just a rat. And I was like, your organisation doesn't give a fuck about right from wrong. You care about your political friends, don't you? It's the same with all of them. Remember that Shami Chakrabarti? She was always gobbing off about people's rights for people that had names like Shami Chakrabarti. Abu Hamza gets carted off to jail, and the likes of Shami Chakrabarti and fucking Amnesty International are like, oh my God, poor old Abu Hamza's been locked up. But they don't get involved when someone like Mellier gets locked up. And I don't even have to praise him or take a side. You all know what my side is. Definitely on his side. But again, trying to be as coldly logical as possible. Even if I wasn't on his side, if I had integrity, I'd defend him. Right? Even if I was the old left, so not crazy, I'd be like, oh yeah, his message is disgusting. But it was a non-violent, no victim, nothing crime. It wasn't a crime. So you would expect Amnesty International and all these fuckers to jump into the argument and say, hang on, this bloke's not even allowed to see his children for a victimless crime. No. You can't have that. But they don't care, do they? They'll stick up for Abu Hamza and Osama. They'll stick up for Hope Not Hate activists when they punch an old lady in the face or fucking smash up a museum or cost tens of thousands of pounds in criminal damage or deface Stonehenge, which literally outrages tens of millions of people. Like, that made waves over here. Everybody was like, dirty hippies. They'll defend them, but if you're not on their side of the political argument, they'll let you rot. They've never talked about the likes of Sam Mellier. They don't care. You say, hang on, is it humane for a man to not be allowed to see his own children when he's never got a criminal record in his whole life and he's done a victimless crime? They just go, yeah, fuck him. But Abu Hamza, who openly called for murder, oh, we need to help Abu out. We need to polish his hook for him. It's fucking ludicrous. So the world's gone fucking crazy. And it does me head in. And the likes of Paul Mason, I'm all for. I just wish they'd start with the Glorious Revolution. They're the ones who've proved that votes are only for them, you respect a vote when they win, and you ignore the vote when we win. They've proved that they're not interested in the democratic process anymore. They stomp all over your rights and they rip up the rule book. And when you complain, they say, oh, we're protecting democracy. They basically are like Stalin. The modern woke are just Stalinists. Rules for you, not for them. And when they win a vote, you have to respect it. And when you win a vote, fuck the vote. We'll lock you in prison for 4 years without a vote. And we've got to get some legal help for Abu Hamza and Sadiq Khan. But fuck Sam Mellier because we don't like his politics. Objectively, that's what's going on. Even if you don't like his fucking politics, didn't punch anyone, didn't slap anyone, didn't insult anybody, didn't say anything to anyone, didn't threaten a copper, didn't damage anything. No one gives a fuck about his rights, do they? So it's all a game. Why don't they hurry up with the glorious revolution? I want them to get started. I want Paul and his fucking rabble to just say, yeah, the mask's off. We don't care about democracy. We're going to enforce our will on you with naked force rather than the force of the ballot box. And let's see what happens. Because the history books know what happens. And I keep making the point. When detestable, lamentable, limp-wristed fucking soy boys start getting violent and they go up against scaffolders and bricklayers and bus drivers, they don't like what happens to them. Because they're all fucking middle-class academics. All of them. I've never met an out communist who isn't a middle-class arsehole. So, see what happens. Yeah, please. Just get it started. They're always going on about the fucking glorious revolution. Please, hurry up. Anyway, that was like a 40-minute rant. Fucking does me head in. What news have we got? Oh, here's a good one. I seen this on Leo Curse made a video about it. Look at this here. This is fucking brilliant. Just more gibberish. More commie fucking gibberish, right? Where nothing makes sense anymore. Have you seen this? They even call, like, sexual preferences genders now. My missus made that point. She was like, how can they say there's 66 genders when some of these things are just opinions? So this is fucking brilliant. Pansexual comedian Sophie Hagen says it doesn't make them or Brady Butcher in the English language any less queer than that they've only slept with cis men. So look at this. I'll just read you the first couple of paragraphs. Non-binary, pansexual, 20-chinned fat fucker, Sophie Hagen, has only ever slept with cis men, and they have perfectly explained why this doesn't make them any less queer. Perfectly. Really? Perfectly. Okay. Sophie Hagen, whose comedy focuses on all things sex, gender and fatness, of course it does, what else is she going to talk about, wrote a piece for Metro on being what they call a pansexual virgin. They explain pansexual means I am attracted to and fall in love with people regardless of their gender. Virgin means, well, it means I've never slept with a woman. In fact, I've only ever slept with cisgender heterosexual men. If I remain a pansexual virgin for life, can I still even claim to be queer? I've decided that I can. Yeah, there you go. Commie fucking gibberish. You know what this means? I'll tell you why I was always pro-LGBT. Was because I thought it cheapened me being straight if we said it was a lifestyle choice. You know when the old Baptist preachers in the 90s were saying, like, it's a lifestyle choice. And people of my generation stuck up for gay people because we were like, it's not really because I didn't choose to like tits, so maybe you don't choose to like cock. As proven the horseshoe theory right, and the fact that the extremists just go all the way around in a big circle, she's now agreeing with the Baptist preachers because you know what she's basically saying here? If she's into women, even though she's only ever fucked cis men, I'm massively into cock, even though I've only ever shagged birds. Fucking gibberish. Yeah, I've decided I can. You can't. But by that logic, every man in this fucking chat who's only ever slept with women is actually a galloping raving homosexual. You might have only shagged women. Let's pick on one. Ron Morgan, there you go. He's an older bloke. Ron, you might have only ever shagged women in your life, but I'm sorry to tell you, according to this morbidly obese 20-chin fucking comic, turns out you're actually more gay than fucking Elton John and Dale Winton. Yeah? You're more bent than a fucking £8 note, because that's the way it works. These people are fucking off it. Words don't mean anything anymore. There's words like demisexual, where they say like, oh, I only like people that are intelligent. You ever heard that one? Apparently that's a sexuality now, like it's on the flag. Oh, I'm only attracted to people that are intelligent. Really? Are the people out there on dating apps going, I only date fucking idiots? Do you know what I'm talking about? They try and give names to anything and everything. Like anything, that's not a sexuality. That's just fucking being a human. That's like saying, generally, young people are more attractive than fucking 90-year-olds. Oh, you're youth sexual. No, I'm just normal. People that are a normal body weight are more attractive than people with a fucking 500-pound, send the scale round all the way around twice, 80-inch waist, and fucking bleed mayonnaise. This is like absolute lunacy. Oh, I've got a new member, Lee Fordham. He's just joined the club. Lee, how you doing? Actually, I was working on some art there. I'm going to print it on cardstock and give it away. I wonder if I can show the picture. StreamYard's a bit shit. I don't think you can upload photographs, can you? What's a slide? Add a file from your computer. Let's see if I can show you that. Nah, nothing. All right, fuck them. Anyway, next week I'll do it. I'll print it out on some Gucci cardstock and I'll give some shite away to a member next week. So yeah, join. It's good for you. Lee Fordham, thanks. Welcome to the club. So yeah, the world's gone fucking crazy. Apparently, if you've never ever shagged a bloke, you're actually raving. So it sucks to be you, unfortunately, gents. I have forgotten how people join. You press on the button underneath my page on YouTube. I'll show you now. I just don't understand. As I said, the last week has just been fucking a demonstration of lunacy from the craziest fucking people on planet Earth. Yeah, there you go. You join by clicking on the join button there under my tab on Facebook, on YouTube. Easy. So, yeah, there is that. What else was I going to talk about? There's one more story. So, yeah, this one we've already done. Even if you've only ever slept with cis men, you're a lesbian. Yeah, totally logical. And it's, oh yeah, here it is. I wanted to do this. Listen to 2 minutes of this guy ripping the piss out of the irrational woke lefties. As we keep saying, it's just a tax. It's just a tax. It's just trying to convince you to sign up and give all your money away. Wait, another one, Kajaloo. Thank you for joining the channel. Nice one. I'm fucking killing it today. And Joe sent me another sticker. Joe, yeah, I much appreciate it. Please apologise to your husband on my behalf for you constantly buying me pints of cheap lager. Yeah, listen to this guy. It's fucking great. And then there's YouTube trying to hit it with a climate change banner so you don't listen. 2 minutes, he rips the fucking piss out of him. Check this out.
From Georgia, Mr. McCormick, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Abbott, you just brought up an interesting point about the ocean rising. How much has it risen in the last 50 years?
I'll have to get back with you on that, Congressman.
Not significant amount, obviously, 50 years. Since 1970, what's the carbon emissions, the carbon content of the atmosphere? Is it greater or less than what it was in 1970?
Could you repeat that question
The
again?
carbon content, the carbon dioxide levels in the entire Earth atmosphere, was it greater or less than it was in 1970?
I would say greater.
You care to state that, bet money on that?
I'll let you answer.
Yeah. I would say it's great. This is the fucking expert. Oh, do you want to put money on it? Nah, you're all right. I won't put money on it.
Answer the question either that I'm right or wrong.
Okay. And what percentage of the atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide? Percentage of the atmosphere?
It's a little over 400 parts per billion.
So 0.04%, right? Of that, how much comes from human beings? About 11%. Of that, how much comes from the United States? 14%. Of that, how much comes from trains in the United States? 0.5%. So we're talking about eliminating 0.00003% of the Earth's atmosphere carbon dioxide.
You can't argue with that, can you? 0.0000. Imagine if you start on the UK. What percentage of carbon dioxide do we pump into the atmosphere? If you come from Scotland, where they're trying to say you have to fucking walk everywhere, what percentage? What percentage are you putting into the atmosphere? It's like 0.00002% or whatever the fuck it is. And these lunatics is just trying to, like I said, it's a con. It's a fucking con. It's just a way of taxing the balls off you. And the morons that make up the general public will fucking lap it up, and we're the weird ones. We're the weird ones for asking for fucking evidence. Free Sam Mellier, yes, we can agree on that. If I haven't made that point clear, I'll repeat it for you there. And Els Place has joined as well. Nice one. Thanks for joining the channel. All right, I'll put your names in the hat. I'll give some shite away next week. I've still got some stickers as well. I'll throw some Bootneck stickers onto the pile as well. So yeah, brilliant that, innit? The world's gone mad. The world has gone fucking mad. Don't let them take your money off you. It's a tax. Don't pay it. Don't let them talk you into living off cricket paste. Eat as much steak as you like. Set tyres on fire. Litter. Do whatever you fucking like. Because it's all bollocks. It's all bollocks. Over my dead body will they get fucking more money off me. Angry Bootneck improves my... Nah, it's the booze. It's the booze. Drink a bottle, throw it in the fucking sea. Considering we pay these taxes to recycle, and then we send it all on boats to India, and then the Indians take the recycling and ditch it in the fucking sea, that's... Who's the thick one? Who's the thick one? And I'm not making that up. You've all seen the videos. Literally emptying the recycling trucks into the fucking sea. So who's the thick one? You, Owen Jones, who spends money and washes bottles to take the time to get the bottles into a big container that they drive in a truck all the way miles and miles to a dock to load with fork trucks onto a boat to sail 10,000 miles to drive to the ocean to ditch it in the sea and choke a fucking dolphin to death, or me, who drinks the can and throws it straight in the sea. Which one of us is helping the environment the most? Answers on a fucking postcard. If you need an hand. Yeah, well, I mean, this is what we used to do in the old days, or just reuse glass bottles. But apparently, that's a shit idea. So, the world's gone mad. Don't play the fucking game. To sum up, if you've never sucked a cock, you're a raving homo. If you've never rubbed a bird's fanny, you're a leser. If you drive tons of shite thousands of miles around the world and then ditch it in the fucking sea and choke a dolphin to death, you're an environmentalist. What else? If you ban candidates, lock people up and stomp on the throat of innocent people, you love democracy. Fucking, if you talk about how war is bad and we shouldn't have wars, you're a warmonger. That's another good one, innit? You're a fucking warmonger. I mean, I could do this all day, is the point I keep making. I could do it all fucking day. Yeah. Everything these lunatics have done in the last few weeks has just sent me off the fucking deep end. I've had enough. As I said here, they have the critical thinking skills and the emotional maturity of a teenage lesbian on the fucking blob. They're just completely off it. And there's nothing else I can say about it. And as I said, look at that. This is a lefty calling you a warmonger. If you go, maybe we shouldn't have a war, you're a warmonger. So that can be the cherry on top. There's the 5 we've learned today. If you've never sucked a cock, you're more bent than Dale Winton. If you've never licked a minge, You're fucking more of a lesser galloping bull dyke than fucking Joe Brand, sweating heavily outside a fucking chippy. If you hate war and you'll do anything you can to enter the peace process, like Peter Hitchens or Nigel Farage, you're a warmonger. If you've got a 10 inches on the fucking slack, you're more of a woman than Angelina Jolie. And if you don't agree with communists on everything, you beat your wife up. Okay. There you go. Makes loads of sense. Tune in next week for 5 more lessons in up is down and left is fucking right. Warwick Davies is taller than Michael Jordan and fucking Diane Abbott's skinnier than Kate Moss. Welcome to my fucking TED Talk. I'm a Labour Party politician. All right? Brilliant. Love that. Fucking world's gone mad and we're here to watch it. Can't wait to see what the fuck can come up with next week. Can't see... If you don't inject mayonnaise directly into your fucking jugular, you hate democracy. You just don't like being healthy. What's the matter with you? You don't want to inject mayonnaise directly, smash it through your fucking chest cavity and inject it straight into your heart. Why do you hate health? What's the matter with you? Fucking weirdo. Oh yeah, I nearly forgot my catchphrase. You can have that for now, you twat. Doesn't really work this week because I got some donations there, so wasn't for now. I appreciate it anyway. I will spend it on cheap gin. Thanks for tuning in. See you all next week. Have a good fucking weekend. Get pissed. Don't forget, get pissed. Choke a dolphin to death. Cave a fucking porpoise's napper in with a fucking broken bottle just to prove that you care about the environment. All right? Because that's how it works. Apparently, you do the exact opposite of everything rational. You care about it. Or whatever. Yeah. Brilliant. All right, see you soon. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Cheers.